अनेजदेकं मनस्सोऽजवीयो नैनं देवा आप्नुवन् पूर्वमशत् तद्धावत्तोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत्तस्मिन्नपो मातरिष्वा दधाति अनेजदेकं मनस्सोऽजवीयो नैनं देवाप्नुवन् पूर्वमशत् तद्धावत्तोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत्तस्मिन्नपो मातरिष्वा दधाति. The mantras 4 to 8 talk of the goal of evolution. Now this mantra, Tanejati, Anejadekam manasso javiyo. Anejat, that is unmoving. Ekam, one. Manassa javiyaha, it's faster, swifter than the mind. The senses could not reach it. Why? Because it ran ahead. And how did it run ahead? It remained stationary. By remaining stationary, it ran ahead. It outruns other runners. It being there, air sustains life. Matarishva dadhati. Okay, before I get to that, Hariji, yeah, what is it, sir?
Guruji, can you say once more about the infra and supra? I couldn't fully get it.
No, the supra.
If it is to be done afterwards, I don't want to disturb your flow.
No, I'll just briefly repeat what I've said.
Okay.
The supra humans are those, as I've said, with the range of vasanas, anything above, this is arbitrary. There's nothing like a specific. Sure. Anything above 20% vasanas, you're born as a human. Yeah. Okay. And those who are in that evolved state of human birth, they would be in the range of 60, 70, 80%. They are called the suprahumans. You can call them as the gods and the angels in the human world.
They have got more than 60%
refinement to be born as a human.
Okay. Okay.
We're talking of refinement.
Yeah.
And below a certain refinement, we say below 20%, you are infrahuman, which is your inferior category. You're not even a human being. You are a plant or an animal.
Okay.
You get it? So below the range of, because we said 20 to 100%, you are born as a human. Below that, you're born as a plant or an animal.
Okay.
And all is determined by the nature of vasanas.
Okay.
And desires you entertain.
Okay.
Yeah. So the sunless worlds here is talking about those who are demanding that kind of infra-human life they're leading. They're leading a plant or an animal life in a human embodiment.
Okay.
You get it? You're not living up to the dignity of a human being. The dignity of a human being is to live a life where you perform a life of sahayagnya, that spirit of yajna. But when you don't live the life of yajna and do the path of renunciation or action, you fall yourself into the sunless worlds which is the infra level, which is the most rajasic and tamasic lives, which will lead you, if you continue, it will lead you into the lower embodiments. That was a brief implication when I said that.
Okay.
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 So the mantra 4, he says, that is unmoving, ekam, faster than the mind. The senses could not reach it. It ran ahead. Remaining stationary, it outruns other runners. It being there, air sustains life. Very unique language, typical language of the Shastras. In fact, the next mantra, he uses the language of contradiction to a point of fault. We'll get there very soon. But here, this mantra is with reference to the microcosm. And the next mantra is with reference to the macrocosm. Okay. Now, firstly, he says that is unmoving. Unmoving means it is motionless. When does anything become motionless? A simple thing, for a movement or a motion to happen, it's established that it is there at a point and it doesn't exist at another point, isn't it? I have moved means I have moved from point A to point B. I am here and I'm not there. So movement of a thing can happen only when it exists in a place and it doesn't exist in another place. That is when movement can happen. So when you say it is motionless, that refers to Isha. We have to stick to the words of the text. He says Isavasyopanishad, the Lord, the Brahman, the reality. That is unmoving, it's motionless. So when it becomes motionless, when it is here and it is also there. Radigar, where are you? You say, sir, I am in Hyderabad. When can you go to Chennai? When can you go to Chennai? I'm not asking when are you going to Chennai.
Guruji. Currently, I'm here, but when can I is in a plan, Guruji? It is.
I'm not asking as your travel plan.
But when you're making a statement that you are here, again you are there.
No. Where are you now?
I'm here in Hyderabad.
Are you there in Chennai now?
No.
So movement to Chennai can only happen when
you physically move.
Correct. When would you physically move to Chennai? When you're not in Chennai, isn't it? It's simple thing. There's no complicated where. Movement of a thing can happen where it is to where it isn't. Now you are in Hyderabad. You can move from Hyderabad to Chennai because you are in Hyderabad and not in Chennai. Yes, but let's say you're having a conversation with someone there. And now somebody asks you, did you come today? No, I have been here for the past few days. I have been in Chennai. Oh, is it? I did not know. I thought you were in Hyderabad. You say, no, I am already here, sir. I've been here. I've been here for the past few days. Then to people in Hyderabad, you say, no, I'm not there. I'm here. So simple argument, which we simple English language conveys, that movement can happen from where it is to isn't. Now, Brahman, when he says it is unmoving, it is motionless, it only means it cannot move because it is all pervading. There is no place where God isn't. Tell me a point in the entire cosmos, the entire universe, a point where God doesn't exist. Then we can say it moved from this point where it exists to that point where it doesn't. It's a vacuum, it is not there, therefore it went from here to there. So by just using the word anejat, the word anejat, the mantra starts with that, isn't it? Anejadekam ekam. So in that very first word, he has given two definitions of God. Anejat, ekam. Anejat is unmoving, ekam is one. So what furthermore you gather, when something is, movement is happening, it talks about duality. There are two places. But when there is no movement, it talks of ekam. There's only one.
Understood, Guruji.
Isn't it? So this is the typical style of the Shastras. They will not expand. You'll have to squeeze it out to make sense of it. Right, Ji?
Yes. Thanks, Guruji.
Right, sir. So something that which doesn't move at all. Why it doesn't move? It's unmoving because it is all pervading. It doesn't even move even when you die. Even at death, the Brahman or God doesn't leave the dead body. It is very much there. Harish, how do you say it is very much there in the space occupied by the dead body?
Carry on, Guruji. Because Guruji, the dead body, it cannot move. It doesn't move.
Correct, sir. We know that. Dead body doesn't move. My question is, what is my question? I'm clean bold with your answer.
Why when the body dies, why is it still all pervading? Why is God still there?
Why is Brahman there in the dead body? The space occupied by the dead body. Brahman is there. Brahman cannot move. Why? How do we say that? Is it right to say that? Let's question the very question itself. Is it right to say that?
Guruji, that it says that Brahman is everywhere. So in a dead body or a live body, so it makes no difference because it is everywhere.
Correct, as simple as that. Correct. Going by the description and definition of God, since it is said to be everywhere, we'll have to come to a simple logical conclusion. It has to be there even in the space occupied by the dead body. If you say, no, I differ with you. Obviously, the person has died because the Brahman has left the body. That means you are creating a space where it isn't. You are against the very definition of the Shastras. You may not know what is happening at death, but then you're going against the definition, established truth that God is everywhere. Therefore, indirectly, we'll have to conclude that Brahman is there in the dead body. You get it? But then why somebody dies is another topic. We'll not get into it. Then we lose our focus. Why a person dies, what happens at death is all a different question, a different topic for discussion for another day. Okay. But here he says that, you're following, Harish? You're good?
Yes, Guruji. Yes, Guruji.
Great, great. So when he says that is unmoving, he means it's all pervading. It is ekam. It is faster than the mind. Now, one thing you got to remember, the language of the Shastras, whenever they use the word mind, they mean the subtle body. The style of the scriptures is they are very stingy people. people with very few words. They don't want to speak much. They'll speak little and you understand. So when they use mind, it means a subtle body. It means the mind and the intellect. So when he says it ran fast, it's faster than the mind. Now, mind can go to places of your experience. Where you have memories of what you have known. Shashikanji, your mind can only go to where you know, isn't it, sir?
Exactly. If at all I don't know where I go, maybe it's a of thoughts, Guruji.
Sorry, sir?
Maybe it's a conflict of thought getting.
Why? Where's the conflict?
At all I don't know, I can go. Knowing.
No. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to explain this phrase faster than mind. First, I said mind means mind and intellect. Now, let's take a note of these two important points. Mind can go to areas of your knowledge, of your known areas. When you say mind can go to areas known, known is where you have experience of, or you can tap on your memory. Even to the extent where, let's say, I ask you, have you been to Brussels?
I will say no.
Okay. Can you imagine, if I ask you, have you been to Paris?
No.
But if I ask you, imagining you know, what is Paris famous for? What is that? One of the wonders. I don't know whether it's one of the wonders, but it is one of the wonders, isn't it? No. The Paris is known for the famous Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Eiffel Tower. Okay. You confessed you have not been to Paris.
But I know.
But yet you know, because you have heard of the place Eiffel Tower, you have seen pictures, you have seen people sharing their experiences. So all of it suddenly comes as a flash to you and say,
exactly.
I know, yes, I know. Have you experienced it? Not directly, but you are with your imagination, your memory, you are able to draw and you're able to visualize what an Eiffel Tower is, isn't it? So your mind goes there.
Exactly. Excellent. Excellent.
But my mind cannot go to something which you do not know.
Do not know. Agree. Very clear.
Have you eaten a fruit called Ratkutchit?
I have not eaten, but I know.
Ratkutchita. There's a fruit called Ratkutchit. How many of you know of a fruit called Ratkutchit? Shantima, have you eaten Ratkutchit? Sir, I am seriously asking a question. You are laughing, sir. Sir, making a laughing matter. I'm saying, have you eaten Ratkutchit? Shantima.
Ariyam Guruji. No, Guruji. Never heard of the name.
Ratkutchit.
None of you should do any Googling now. Huh? Ratkutchit. Now, first question you should ask, sir, what is Ratkutchit, sir? Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? Is it a dessert? What is it? 2 minutes before I said it didn't exist in my own mind. So the Ratkutchit was something I created now, right now. But if I were to say that there is, no, sir, forget what I just said. There is something called a Ratkutchit. It's actually a very rare fruit which is there in the jungles of the Indonesian jungle. Let's say in Borneo, there's a rare fruit which only comes, very rare, it's almost endangered, it's gone. A very rare fruit called Ratkutchit. Oh, it's a fruit, huh? Okay. Now you have removed all the other possibilities of, is it a vegetable? Is it a sweet? No, it's a fruit. Okay. Ratkutchit is a fruit. Okay. Now you know what a fruit is.
Exactly.
Now, next step. It's the size of a muskmelon. Okay. You take the concept of muskmelon size. Texture is of custard apple. Okay. Tastes like pineapple. Okay. And the outer color is like watermelon. Now with, muskmelon, pineapple, watermelon, whatever other fruit I said. Taking that into account, you have made a creation of a fruit of Ratkutchit. Now, next time I mention of Ratkutchit, yes, Guruji, I know you talked about a fruit called Ratkutchit. Your mind can go. But 2 minutes before, when I said Ratkutchit, Shashikanji, you said, I do not know what that is. Your mind can only go to areas known. It cannot go to areas unknown. To explain that, I had to create Ratkutchit.
Excellent.
Huh?
Excellent. Very excellent.
Excellent. Nothing exists there. There's no. I'm creating something out of non-existence. But you have to do something like this to understand it is. Now, what's the extension of that? Yes. Wonderful, Shashikanji. What's the extension of that is intellect can go to areas unknown. Mind can only go to experiences and known factors. Intellect can explore into the unknown. Now, when he says faster than the mind, it is faster than the mind and the intellect. Now, why? How do you understand this faster than the mind and intellect? Arunama, faster than the mind and intellect. Let's say if things you know, things you did not know, your intellect is able to go. He says, faster than the mind. Now, first of all, what is it that is faster than the mind?
Brahman, Hariom Guruji.
Yes, Mahariam. Brahman is faster than the mind and intellect. Now, how do you say faster?
Because Brahman is all pervading, it is present everywhere. So, I mean, so in that sense, so that means it is everywhere, isn't it? So how can you outrun it?
So, just because it's everywhere, how can you outrun it? Means what?
I think because it faster meaning, I think you can only say something is faster when you compare. So how can you compare?
So we are comparing mind and intellect with Brahman, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I say, can you think of the moon?
Yes.
Where is your mind gone now?
To the moon.
To the moon. How long did it take you from the time you registered the word moon to your mind to reach the moon?
A few seconds, hardly a second.
A fraction of a second, I would say.
Yeah.
He's saying the consciousness reached before that fraction of a second it took for your mind to reach the moon. It is faster than the mind. And then what is the explanation for that? Before your mind could reach the moon, Brahman is already existing in the moon. Therefore, it's faster than the moon, faster than the mind.
Okay, Guruji.
Because it's all pervading, it's already there.
Yeah.
Before you could reach it, before the mind reaches it, it's faster than it. Because going back to the earlier word, he said it is unmoving, means it is all pervading, it is everywhere. So therefore it can easily beat the fastest sprinter. Who is the Olympic 2020 Tokyo Olympics 100-meter sprint? Who won? Any idea?
No, I don't know, Guruji.
I think it was an Italian. What is his name? Whatever his name, I think it's some. I think I'm not wrong. It's Marcelo Jacob. No, Usain Bolt. He didn't win. Italian guy won. Usain Bolt holds the fastest 100-meter sprint. I think 9 point something seconds, not minutes. 100-meter sprint 9.63 seconds or 4-5 seconds something. He holds the record. So even the fastest sprinter, he says it is faster than the mind. That's the concept, because it is already existing there. Consciousness is already there, therefore it's faster than the mind. All right, Annama?
Yeah, thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. And then he says the senses could not reach. The organs of perception cannot reach. The senses cannot reach. Devaha means the senses. What do you mean senses cannot reach? Could not reach. Senses could not reach that. It is beyond the capacity of your sense organs. If I tell you the landscape, see the landscape, see the mountain, see the yonder, how far can your perception take you? There's a limitation to your senses, isn't it? It can't reach beyond a point, but consciousness is already there. It's highlighting the limitations of your physical body, the limitations of your mind, the limitations of intellect. The senses could not reach it. It ran ahead. It's far ahead. It is far superior. Running symbolizes organs of action. So it is superior to your organs of perception. It is superior to the organs of action. It is superior to the mind. It is superior to the intellect. Ramji, he says, remaining stationary, it outruns other runners. ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்குது. சும்மா உட்கார்ந்துட்டு it is running faster than other runners. What sort of a statement is that?
Namaste, Guruji. I think it all comes out of your original statement that it is not running or it is not moving because it is already there. So once you go by that statement, then all the other statements are just derivatives of that.
Correct. It makes it very easy to understand. Without that, it's difficult to follow, isn't it? Remaining stationary. It's stationary because
it is everywhere.
It is everywhere. And being everywhere, it outruns other runners.
Because it doesn't run at all.
There is no need to run, it's everywhere. So it's like the fastest fish. When the moment you talk of fish, we're talking the medium of water. Am I right?
Yes.
The fastest fish can't beat the water it is in, isn't it? How fast it took the fish to reach from point A to point B? But faster than the fish was
The water.
the water which is there before it. The faster than the bird is
Air.
the air. Air is faster than that. So faster it ran, it outruns all of us, is Atman, the consciousness. And then he says, it being there, air sustains life. So many people believe that I'm alive because of, thanks Ramji. Subhash ji, namaskar. Yes, I think. Hari Om, sir, namaskar.
Namaskar ji, namaskar.
Namaskar. Many people believe, sir, that we are alive because of we are breathing, isn't it?
Yeah, we have consciousness in our mind, so that's why we are living. Soul is there.
Correct. Even you're going one step ahead, but I'm saying, let's say when a person dies, first thing they check is the air, isn't it? Is he breathing? Isn't it? The moment the breath is gone, we think one is dead.
Dead.
And we also extend that thought and say, I'm alive because I'm breathing.
Yes.
He challenges that statement by saying, it being there, air sustains life.
Definitely.
So what is it that is responsible for you to breathe? Is the consciousness. You're alive not because of the air you breathe, is because of the consciousness.
Yes.
So it is a consciousness and enables you to breathe the air which sustains life.
Yes.
Isn't it? So he's just going one notch higher and higher. It says it is responsible for everything.
Yes.
Isn't it, sir?
Yes.
So it is not that air or wind that sustains life. It's because of the consciousness we are able to breathe the air which sustains life. Right, sir? Wonderful. Thank you, Ji. Thank you. In fact, Asham is asking a question. Ashama, boliye.
Pranam Guruji.
Namaskar.
When you said your mind, I mean, there was some reference to mind, it being faster than mind. So I wanted to know, does your consciousness already know what your next movement or action is going to be before even the thought occurs to you? That was my question.
A very innocent question, a very genuine question you're asking. Do you mean to say God knows everything that's happening? Even before I think, God is aware what's going to happen? Is it what you're asking, ma?
Yes.
The answer is no. God has got nothing to do with what thoughts you entertain, what actions you perform, what emotions you feel. It has got nothing to do with what you do with your life.
Okay.
So God doesn't get involved in the individuality. The individuality is created because of your thoughts, your body, mind, and intellect, isn't it?
Yes.
The Atman or consciousness or the reality has got nothing to do with your individuality. Okay. But yet it is only responsible for it to function. It is not accountable for its actions. There are two words I'm using. It's responsible. I'm responsible, but I'm not accountable.
Yeah.
Responsible means it's happening because of it.
Yes. That
but
is
it's
the
not.
karma.
The accountability is, let's say you perform a noble deed. Let's say you entertain an emotion of anger. Is God responsible for the emotion of anger and the consequences you face?
No.
No. So God has got nothing to do with the action nor its fruits. So God has got nothing to do with the karma and karma phala. God has only got to do with it enables that action, that's all. So God is said to be a perfect witness, is totally detached to everything that's happening, yet it enlivens it. So God enlivens everything, yet it is perfectly detached, it's above it. Are you getting that, Ma?
Yes.
Just like petrol enlivens all movement of all vehicles. But petrol as such is not responsible for the nature of performance, isn't it? How powerful
the engine,
the performance is, it depends on the engine. It's nothing to do with the petrol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if you put turbo petrol in an old dilapidated junk car, it's still moving. What kind of performance will you get? You'll not get turbo performance. You still get that same old performance because the car is junk. It's gone, it's written off. So the performance is based on the engine. Engine is here compared to the mind and intellect, not the petrol. Petrol is the same. Okay. Right, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Harish.
Guruji, so based on just this conversation now, Guruji, you said God has nothing to do with actions and the fruits, the karma, the karma phala. In a nutshell, that it means it's all about our free will, basically, right, Guruji? It's all free will, no?
Free will of what?
I mean, whatever we decide or do, it's all on the basis of free will, and then we deal with the outcome of our free will. I mean, from what I understand.
Absolutely. So all your choices, the choices you have made out of free will, you're asking for it. Providence is only providing what you have asked for, isn't it?
Yes.
So if I take a knife and cut myself, I have asked for it. Okay.
Yes.
Willingly or unknowingly, I've hurt myself. Let's say in sleep, I cut myself. What would happen instantly? I would bleed, isn't it?
Yes.
And then what would happen? If all is going well with your body, it starts clotting, isn't it? If it doesn't clot, what would happen? I could bleed to death in sleep.
Yes.
So Providence has given you that facility to mend it. Providence has also given you the free will to destroy it. Whether you want to mend it or destroy it, up to you. But conscience is supporting everything. So who is ensuring that the blood clots? Isn't it the consciousness that's enlivening it to happen?
Yes.
So a simple thing like when, I went through an eye test the other day. Very, very profound. It hit me so hard, I tell you. They were just going through a general checkup and they said, sir, I'm going to put a gel on your eye and then don't open your eye. It just took a couple of minutes, if not more. And the person who was doing, she was telling, sir, turn your eyeball to the right. I turned my eyeball to the right. Look straight at me. Straight at me. Look down. Look down. All when my eyes were closed. What hit me so profoundly at that point? Perhaps it didn't hit me all the while I've been teaching, it didn't hit me. But it hit me when I was sitting in that clinic doing that. What is it that is enabling my eyeball to move right, left, top, bottom, center, back? Where? What is it that is helping it move? I tell you, it was such a profound feeling I had at that point. The most innocuous moment it was. It hit me very hard. What is it that enabling my eyeball to move? It is that consciousness. But then, as Ashama said, oh, then his consciousness determines what I see. I may see a divine picture. I may see a piece of garbage. That is determined by the consciousness. No, that is not determined by consciousness. That is determined by the free will. Conscience enlivens me whether I want to see divinity or garbage. But what I want to see, I have the free will. God has got nothing to do with the actions or the karma phala. I can perpetrate the worst of deeds. I can execute the best of deeds. Whether you want to do the worst or the best, the choice is with us. So we face the consequences. We sow the seeds of our future. You only reap the fruits of your own actions. So don't blame God. Don't thank God. God has got nothing to do with it. And remember, one of the best descriptive definitions, we can never give a definition to God. One of the best descriptive definitions we often said. Guys, remember in the context?
God is responsible for everything that happens, but it is, I was just thinking about it, Guruji. But it has got nothing to do with it.
It is very much so. But do you know the words I use? Very, very, it stuck so deeply, I keep quoting it. One of the best descriptions of God is, he says, Nataka Deepa Prakarana. The great Vidyaranya talks in the text Panchadashi. He says, he describes God as, correct, Padminima? He says, with it, everything happens. Without it, nothing happens. Yet it has got nothing to do with the happening. One of the most profound statements. सुषमा आपने लिखा है आपने दोबारा बोलता हूं आपके लिए सुषमा
Can you repeat it, Guruji?
Yes,
I couldn't.
No, I know. The statement is, with it, everything happens. Without it, nothing happens. Yet, with it, everything happens. Without it, nothing happens. Yet, it has got nothing to do with the happening. And the only thing that fits into that definition is Brahman, is God.
Guruji, now, if I say, I'm sure most of us are now saying, we want to do selfless actions. Now, will Providence provide us environment or whatever that we are able to do? If I'm wanting to do more and more of selfless actions, and as you say, we do unselfish, but selfless actions is only when you almost are realized person. But in my heart or my mind, I'm wanting to do more of that. Then what happens? Am I provided environment where I will do, and then I can choose my free will to do or not do?
See, the fact that you want to perform unselfish or selfless actions, you're already exercising your free will. You can still choose to be selfish or self-centered, which you aren't. You say, I want to perform the purest of actions. I want to get to that that path of divinity. I want to get to that goal of realization. Isn't that exertion, expression of your own free will?
Yeah.
Since you've very clearly made a choice, there will be that path laid out for you to tread that path and reach your goal. But God has got nothing to do with it. God is just providing you what choices you make.
Yeah, but
Why should God?
He's providing me with that.
Providing me, in fact, in the previous mantra, I said Sahayagnya. When God created mankind, he had given us this capacity to perform yajna and reach Godhood. Yajna is the means to reach God. Non-yajna is the means to devolve. Yajna is the means to evolve. Now, I can choose to perform yajna or non-yajna. That choice I've got where? From birth itself. So now if I want to perform sacrificial work, you have that free will. You have always had that free will.
And another thing I didn't understand, when you said in the earlier mantra, when you said if you have 20% vasanas, or if you have less than that, then you're an animal or something. If you have more, you're a super person. But I thought if a super person has so many vasanas, we are trying to get rid of our vasanas. How does a super person have so many vasanas?
It was not based on vasanas. We are talking about refinement of certain vasanas.
Okay.
We're talking of quality, not quantity. If a person has refined vasana, let's say he is able to entertain very, as you rightly said, highly unselfish, very pure, selfless actions the person is performing. He has such refined thoughts. He is higher in the ladder of a human development, isn't it? He has got refined vasanas. This is very subtle. He's evolved. But a person who is gross will entertain gross vasanas, animalistic, sensual, full of lust and greed. That person has lower, all he thinks of is carnal pleasures, indulgences. A person, what kind of a person would entertain such thoughts? Only a gross person. So there is this range from a grossest of human to a subtlest of human. There's a range that says at 20 to 100. But if you go further than that, you are born as an animal. See, don't we see animals, they behave, their whole nature is their world. They will drink from the gutters. They will urinate wherever they are. Have you not seen these animals mating on the center of a street? There's nothing wrong with that. For them, it's all acceptable. But if as a human, I keep to a very low level of entertaining such gross thoughts, I only said nature will transport you to that environment where you'll be born as an infra-human. That is spiritual suicide. Don't ask for that. We have a choice to rise beyond this lower tendencies and embrace the higher. And how high? As high as self-realization, as liberation you can aspire. Now the question is, am I having the conviction to say I want to seek that liberation? Am I honestly entertaining a desire? Have I developed an attachment to seek liberation? If you are, if you have, as you say you have a royal path ahead of you. And who is God to deny it? In fact, in the 15th mantra, if I'm not wrong, let me get to that mantra. In the 15th mantra, you're right. No? Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham. He says, the face of truth is covered by a golden disc. So he's visualizing, in fact, dramatizing of a student who has done all the sadhana and he's reached that point where he actually has to experience the truth, which is the sun. But suddenly he sees the face of the sun is covered by a golden disc. And what the student says? Remove it, he says. He says he's commanding the sun to remove the disc. He says, "Oh sun, remove it, so as to be seen by me, who is the nature of truth. I have done everything to deserve the truth. Why is the disc there? Remove it." That is the power and commandment you have when you have done tapas. So no God can deny you if you have done the tapas. If you have not done it, no God can help you. So God has got nothing to do, and yet it has got everything to do in every step of the way. Oh, therefore we say, oh, God has nothing to do with it. Therefore it's me. It's all me. There is no ahankar. Then you should not develop that ego. It is happening because of it, but I have to exercise that the most crucial free will and the choice I make. And that gives me the path ahead. So there's none to deny you, Ma.
Thank you, Guruji.
Right. Thank you, Ma. With it, everything happens. Without it, nothing happens. Yet it has got nothing to do with the happening. This is Brahman. This is, what is this? What is that one word that describes that state? With it, everything happens. Without it, nothing happens. Yet it has got nothing to do with the happening. One word that describes it. This is Brahman. What's that word? Objectivity. So, Hariji, you must hold back your knowledge and wisdom. Hariji, you must please hold back. So I'm asking not to test anybody, but it's a process I'm engaging so that I help people think in the line. Okay, sir? Just hold back, please. But you're absolutely right. It symbolizes that quality of objectivity, which is to be a sakshi or a witness. So why am I saying that? To the extent you are spiritual, to that extent you become a witness to Rajima. You become dashed to others' actions.
Observer.
What's the word we studied yesterday morning?
Yes, Swat.
You become silent.
Silent, yes.
You become silent towards others' actions. That is objectivity, isn't it?
Yes, Guru.
The Brahman is absolutely silent to all our actions. That's the point. So to the extent you are spiritual, you will become a witness to everything that's happening around you. Everything happens because of you. You are the live wire. Everything functions because of you. Everything operates because of you, but you have got nothing to do with it. It means you're not bound by it. RPG, this is how you must conduct your life. You must be full of vibrance and energy and enthusiasm. People should take it from your vibrant presence, but you remain inwardly so detached. You are not affected by anything that's happening around you. And where do you get that strength from? By identifying with Brahman, because Brahman is the only aspect in your whole personality which is pure witness to everything, actually detached. So where do you get that objectivity from? From Brahman, by quoting Brahman, through this scriptural study. When you study the scriptures, what you get is that objectivity. Isn't it, RPG?
Yes, Guruji. So one question I have, I've been thinking about it from the beginning of the class actually is the way this is written and positioned, and maybe not at this level, but in some of the other scriptural readings we've gone through, and much of it is to get you to get one to rationalize or understand, appreciate the vastness or the completeness of Brahman, right? It's sort of to shock and awe, right? That sort of, at some point, when you rationalize that in one's own mind, then you do get to that stage, or well, maybe it's a question. Do you get to that stage where you go, even though you don't understand the absolute reality, but in a relative sense, you go, whatever is happening before you is happening for some purpose, some reason beyond your control. Maybe it's because of that individual's own vasanas, karma, whatever it might be. At what point do you say, and I've heard you say this before, I think, do you step in and exert some influence? Right? If you see something, and it doesn't have to be necessarily your child or your spouse or your parents or whatever, but it could be a completely different situation, right? Because I think you've said that even that type of action can be maybe tamasic, or where you don't take that responsibility or accountability towards another being. And it could be even straightforward, like eating animals or something like that, all the way up to you see an accident. You can't just go, hey, that's that person's karma, I'm not going to do anything, right? And you just keep going, even though you may understand, look, that there was a cause for that beyond my wildest imagination, right? So that sometimes, and it's especially tough with those closest to you, right? When do you not step in? When do you not say something, do something, when whatever their actions may be or their behavior doesn't happen to coincide with how you see the world, right? And I don't mean to take us off in another direction. So if this is not where you're wanting to go with.
No, now I want to go home for breakfast. That is the only thought in my mind, because I'm hungry, especially when you don't have dinner also. Next to where I want to go is for breakfast. Well,
I see.
You asked me, I told you, I'm being very upright and truthful.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
See, that's in fact, Arpija, from a small request and a suggestion. The best to communicate when you're asking a question is just phrase it in a single statement or two, because it helps. It helps everybody to think along with you. Otherwise, people would get lost. But I could get where you're getting at, because we were talking about objectivity. The question is, how do you apply this with someone very close, dear to you? Where do you step in and try and do your what you think is right, and yet remain withdrawn, or detached. So being withdrawn, detached, or objective doesn't mean you become a silent witness. It's just that it's not that you, when you see something, it's like when you have a child under your care and your child is going close to danger, or could damage or hurt itself or damage something. You rush in and protect the child, isn't it? So the action element is never compromised. You said somebody meets an accident, and would I be the first person to be available to to be of some rescue of help? Yes, I would be, because my duty calls on me to do so. I wouldn't be oblivious to my duty and just drive away and say, oh, that's person's karma. You are incurring karma if you do that, because you have not done what you are expected to do. It's my dharma to be of help, of assistance, of being humane. I have become inhuman. So it is not what we do, sir. What we do depends on your duty. Let's say some fight is going on. I don't have to go into the brawl and get my jaws broken. That's their problem. Let them deal with it. I don't want to make their problem my problem. So I don't want to get into life. Neighbors are fighting, husband, wife are shouting at each other. Why would I enter into their personal life and try to say, knock at the door, and the moment they open the door, Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, one tight whack I'll get. Who wants your wisdom? They say, keep your wisdom and shut up and get out. We want to continue our fight. So they will continue to fight. What have I got to do with their problem? Am I obliged to do so? That capacity to know what your duty is. And whatever you do it with an air or an attitude of detachment. You say, I have done my part. Tomorrow your child wants a piece of advice. You should be detached to whether the advice is followed or not, sought or not. Yeah. But as a father, you may be obliged to give an insight into a particular aspect of life. Not just because you have experience, because you have, as a father, you have an obligation. Whether it's taken or not, whether it's rejected, you should not be offended by it. Well, that's her life. That doesn't mean you become unconcerned. No, you're very concerned. Just because she didn't hear and she faced the consequences, I told you, it's your karma, now you face it. No, that also is tamas. There also, if, let's say tomorrow she meets a certain consequence of an action, good or bad, you are there for it. See, that kind of being available right throughout, because it's your dharma. You can't say, because I told you not to do it, you did it, so therefore you face the music, I've got nothing to do with it. That is not what that statement means. It is always, you're always there where you have to perform your role or action, but right throughout, you are above it. You're not affected by it because you are detached. It's not, see, detachment is not abandoning of your duties. So that duty has to be upheld at every aspect. So it's not, it is difficult to get that finesse, but yet once you get that and able to take that measure and apply it, then you're ever vibrant and yet you're ever calm. That kind of a hot and cold combination. Dynamic yet very cool. Active but yet unaffected. I give this example often. When an aircraft is taking off, everything is rattling, isn't it? Therefore, nothing should be loose. Nothing is served. No cutlery. Nothing is served. Everything is rattling. It will be dangerous. But the same aircraft, when it's flying in its cruising altitude, everything is so still. Nothing rattles. Exactly. When you are at the highest of sattvic state, the performance is maximum, yet the friction is minimum. There's no resistance at all. It just flows. Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank
So
you.
looks like my breakfast is going to be delayed, and all of you will be delayed by a minute or two. Please hold on, bear. I think Murliji, he's going to be delayed for longer. Harishji also has raised hand. Okay, Murliji, I'll request everyone to be a little brief, please.
Hariom Swamiji.
Yes, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar. You told about that vibrancy and dynamism, to be silent in dynamism. Are we not resonating to verse number 4.18 of Bhagavad Gita, where it said that yogi is totally, when he is doing action also, is in inaction? 4.18. Are we resonating this, or it's something again deviating from 4.18?
No, I don't know. You are referring to 4.18. I'm not doing Bhagavad Gita now. I'm doing Isavasyopanishad. So I don't have.
No, I'm just trying. draw the parallel to it. So
I
in
don't
this he
have
says,
I don't have the text in front of me,
okay.
but
I'm just reading one line for you. He who recognizes inaction in action and action in inaction is wise among men. He is a yogi and true performer of all actions. So it's almost resonating to what you said, that to be silent in dynamism or vibration. That's what I can make. I just thought whether comparing parallel to this is right or wrong. That's all.
Right. Yes. But just for the benefit of doubt of everybody else, I think it will be rather unfair to take a context without having the backdrop in mind. But I know what you're talking about. I can refer to the verse. You're right. Okay. Right, sir. Hariji.
This translation of the word sakshi to witness, I think that is something confusing. It is just like that we try to translate Shraddha to faith. So witness means that we are not even impartially involved. We are seeing without any. Whereas Sakshi is not exactly witness. Sun is the Sakshi, but without sun, we cannot do anything. At the same time, he is impartial, whether I am doing sin or vicious or virtuous action. So that is the confusion, that when we are trying to translate Sakshi to witness, it is not exactly Sakshi and witness. See, Sakshi is much more than witness.
Fair enough, because language only conveys to a certain extent. Therefore, we add in other words to qualify that understanding. So it may not be entirely conveying the message. Okay, I agree with you. Not only this, many words in Sanskrit
true,
which cannot be translated. I agree with you. Right, sir. Yes, Harish. Yes, Harish.
Guruji, can you hear me, Guruji?
Yes.
Guruji, I just want to backtrack a little bit. RPG was having very good questions a few minutes ago, and we were talking about, Guruji, to have a dharma to mankind, just being a witness without the attachment. But Guruji, I wanted to ask one more thing that came into my mind, which a lot of people face every day. They want to help, they want to be involved where it's necessary, but sometimes the consequences backfire in the sense, I'll give you an example, Guruji. Let's say, example, I'm an illegal immigrant in the country. I see an accident happening. I know it is my duty to help that individual. It is just the right thing to do. But I know that if I go forward, when the police arrives, they get my identification. They know I'm an illegal immigrant, for example. I'll be subject to deportation to a war-torn country where I'm from originally, which will be impossible for me to get out, and I'll be jeopardizing my and my family's safety to be deported. Example. How do I decide whether to take that course of action to help that individual who genuinely needs it versus my state that's going to be compromised and my family state in a scenario like this, for example? It's a very tough call, because how would one decide the right thing when both are necessary and both are important, Guruji?
There's nothing as right or wrong. It depends on that intellectual clarity at that point. It's that whether you have that foresight to be able to take a call at that point. If I say one is right, then you will go by that. I don't want to comment on what is right, what is wrong, because if I did right, and yet if it gets me caught, that's what you're saying, isn't it? I did the right act. In the process, I get caught. You got to see what your conscience is. What if I were in the situation, what I would do is different to how anybody would do, isn't it? First of all, I will not be in a country without being an illegal immigrant. I would go and apply my papers and say, please accept me as a, what do you call them? Asylum seeker. Yeah, I'll apply for an asylum seeker, and then wait for what is the right interest. But that doesn't mean I should do the right thing or wrong thing. You know, first of all, I have no place in that country where I should not belong. So what am I doing there? So thereafter doesn't mean I go to a country where I don't belong and I do bank robbery, I do dacoitry, I do stealing. That doesn't justify it. You get what I'm saying? Just because I'm as an illegal immigrant in a country doesn't mean I must do wrong things. It's not one leading to other. So if I feel that if I have saved a life, and if my act could have saved a life, I would do that. Then that's my perspective. It's my opinion I'm saying. It's a matam, it's my opinion. I rather sleep well that night that I have saved a person's life. And I sleep well because I've been caught by the prison. Never mind, that's okay. But I don't want to be incurring that sin that I was responsible for, that somebody has lost his life. Because if that moment I wasn't there, it's subjective. That is a subjective. So it deals with one's intellectual clarity and what one's conscience would feel. And we got to take it there, you know. But it's not a general thumb rule. We can't say so. That's the reason why I paused for a moment. I can't give my I can't say one is right, one is wrong, because it's a constant evolution, isn't it? The clarity and the choices we make.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji. Maybe
the government would recognize your acts and give you a citizenship. Who knows? Man, this man is deserves it. Maybe they'll accept your papers for processing. Who knows? So why should you be fearful? That insecurity shouldn't be there. You should be true to yourself. I would do that if I was there. First of all, I wouldn't be in a country where I shouldn't be. But if I am there, if that situation demands, I would do it. And I leave it to Providence to take care of my needs, to take care of whatever is needed. Okay.
Crystal clear. Thank you, Guruji.
You come back. We'll come back and continue. Okay. Sorry, we had to overshoot quite a bit today, but it happens. Thanks for your patience. We'll come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.